And no man can kill Dajjal except for Isa alayhi salatu wasalam. And he's going to come back. So guess what? Right now, everyone's waiting for the Messiah. The Christians are waiting for the Messiah, Jesus. The Jews are waiting for the Messiah. But their Messiah is not, in their belief, not Jesus. Their Messiah is some other figure, which may be this Dajjal. Allahu Alam. And the Muslims are waiting for the Messiah, which is Isa ibn Maryam. We believe Isa alayhi salam is going to come back. So we believe that. And Isa alayhi salam, when he comes back, he's the only one that can take Dajjal on. Nobody else is able to take Dajjal on. So forget about all your theories of how you're going to meet Dajjal. In fact, only one man, there's a man that actually survives Dajjal's influence. So what happens is, Dajjal says, the man says, look, I know you are Dajjal because my prophet said you will have kaf, fa, ra on your forehead, and I see it right now. Dajjal will say, how about if I slice you in half and join you back together again? So Dajjal does his thing, he slices him in half and then joins him back together. And the believer says, now I'm even more convinced that you are the Dajjal because my prophet said that's what you're going to do. Then Dajjal will go mad. He will want to go for this person. But Allah Azza wa Jal will put a masjid nearby where the man runs into the masjid, and that particular masjid, Dajjal is not able to enter. So he's one of the only ones that, and after this, he's not able to perform his trick of slicing someone in half and joining them back together again. Okay, he's not able to do that. But imagine that he has that influence and that power. What are we supposed to do? Well, what we're supposed to, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has told us, Surah Kahf. In one narration it says, whoever recites Surah Kahf on Friday, he will have, from one Friday to another Friday, you're going to get a lot of light. And many ahadith say that it's the first 10 ayats of Surah Kahf or the last 10 ayats of Surah Kahf. And some have said first 10 and last 10, whichever, it doesn't matter, or maybe both. And one narration says if you memorize the last 10 ayats of Surah Kahf, you're safe from Dajjal. In one narration it says if you see Dajjal, then straight away read the first 10 ayats of Surah Kahf and you'll be protected. Okay, now the question is, why Surah Kahf? Okay, why Surah Kahf? If you look at the first 10 ayats of Surah Kahf, what they're telling us is that this is a time after Isa ibn Maryam, alayhi salatu wasalam. What happened is Daqyanus, okay, he became a king somewhere in the Mediterranean parts of the world. And he was a king in his kingdom, a large kingdom. No one was able to make any move except the news came back to the king. He had soldiers on every corner, every street, every other street or every marketplace or anywhere people gathered. He had his influence. And people were very scared to speak the truth. And Daqyanus claimed to be God. Daqyanus claimed to be God. It's very, very ajib how, subhanAllah, our Prophet ﷺ tells us to read the first 10 ayats of Surah Kahf. And first 10 ayats of Surah Kahf are talking about that time. So what happens is, and no one is speaking the truth. They know the truth in the heart, but they're not able to speak the truth. Guys, if you're awake right now, you're going to kind of feel, subhanAllah, you know what, we're probably living those times right now. All right? You want to say the truth, you can't say the truth. Otherwise, you're going to get slapped by your home minister. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, you didn't get that. No problem. I'll save it till later. You could get slapped by anybody for saying the truth. But people will be afraid to say the truth at that time. And what happens is 7 young boys, they decide to go in front of the king. First they decide to get up in the marketplace and they declare their faith that Allah is the God and that the king is not God. They declare this in a marketplace. 7 young boys, I say 7, some have said 9, some have said 5, but the majority, the greater opinion is perhaps 7. So they get up in the marketplace and they preach the truth. And when they do it, people are looking at them thinking, what are you doing? You're going to die for preaching the truth. You'll be dead. And people ignore them. Soldiers come straight away, grab the boys. They take them straight away to Daqyanus. And Daqyanus then looks at them and says, what do you believe in? They say, Allahu Rabbuna. They'll say, Allah is our Lord. The king says, look, I'm going to give you a little bit of time here to take back the thing you said. Otherwise, you will find out what happens to you. The boys just about get out of the palace. They're being watched. Somehow they secretly escape and they get into a cave. And when they get into the cave, next minute, we know the story, they sleep there for 300 odd years, and after that they come out, and the king's dead. They have coins from the king's time, and everyone there is 300 years later. It's a miracle, one of the karamat of the awliya in the Quran, one of the many miracles we believe in, and that tells us the powerful story of how no man can be God. Our Prophet ﷺ told us again and again, when you see Dajjal, if one of you sees Dajjal, you should know he can never be your Lord, because he is blind from one eye, and your Lord doesn't have that kind of defect.